You can never fear the Lord enough in the latter times. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, glory, and honor that's due to Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai Bahashem Racha HaKodash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of the great millstone who rule well. Peace and blessings to the 144,000 and the hopeful elect. Shalom Barakatham. And I want to speak about the latter times. As the scriptures say, in the latter times, some would depart from the faith, giving heed to seducing spirits and doctrines of devils. Okay, and the latest example of that, okay, which he's been waxing worse, more so than he's been waxing worse and worse. Not just this week that we found out news, but over the past several months and years, which is the guy DeRashia, who was in the Baton Rouge camp, which is my hometown, and this guy is just, it puts the fear of the Lord in you, because this nigga is completely gone. I mean, he is out of his mind. Okay, they may put that nigga in a padded cell, not just lock him up. When they start hearing, they likely have not seen his videos yet. Okay, they probably just thought they were just arresting some nigga spray painting. But though, this guy is really bugged out, man. Okay, and I had a beautiful opportunity to be with the Baton Rouge brothers, man, along with the New Orleans brothers, and it's just I can, by firsthand testimony, testify the spirit in those men down there is a righteous spirit, which is just kind of hard, because I always think back home, Baton Rouge, Louisiana, New Orleans, it's kind of like a dark cloud over that whole area in spirit, but you can tell it's a completely night and day different vibration and spirit on the camps, So, shout out to those brothers for doing the work. And, the Lord gives you examples of great men, and they gives you examples of wicked men. And so we are to take heed of both. Okay, we're to follow the examples of good, upright men, and then we are to take heed in the warning of men that are wicked. Okay, because the main point is the latter times. Okay, we are the closest to victory that we've ever been. Okay, you think about all of the 12 parts when you read the book of Second Ezra, the 14th chapter. Okay, it goes into all of the 12 parts. We're at the end of all of those, man. 12,000 year ages, man. Okay, 12 ages, man. Okay, and what do you think is going to happen to the men that are got their eyes on the prize and the victory? Well, Satan is going to attack you, man. And ultimately, it's not Satan. Well, I'll say Satan does not act outside of the Heavenly Father's commandment. Okay, and so really, what this thing is, it's an honor of faith. It's an exercise of faith in Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai. Because ultimately, if the spirit in you is not right, He will get you up out of there, man. Okay, He ain't even got to bug you out. The Lord can just take you in your sleep. The Lord can send Esau at you. Okay, so there's plenty of reasons to fear the Lord, especially in the latter days, man. Okay, there are things that, just the things we know about the Most High can do, should be, way overkill in supplying that healthy fear of the Lord that you should have, man. Okay, but think about the things that you can't even conceive of that the Lord can do to you, man. Okay, and so this is why we walk. When you read Second Ezra, I believe it's the 7th chapter. Okay, when it speaks about the vision of the kingdom of heaven, that as a man walking on a tight beam, okay, with fire on one side and water on the other, that's the mindset that we got to be in. All you guys getting extra, doing cartwheels and backflips because you can, okay? The Lord is not dealing with that, man. The Lord is not to be tempted, okay? Not even Yahweh Shai tempted the Lord when you read Matthew the 4th chapter, okay? That when Satan tried to tempt him, well, jump off the cliff then, Now Yahweh Shai, he's the son of the Most High, okay? He is known to have spiritual powers. He does have spiritual powers, but even then, it showed you that Yahweh Shai, in these bodies, he had to walk that fine line, man. He couldn't get too proud. He couldn't get too overrighteous, okay? He was there to be the example for us, man, okay? Because he already got the victory, okay? We are hoping that we're part of the elect, okay? So Yahweh Shai may call us friends and joint heirs, okay? And we don't have it yet, man, okay? I don't care how on fire you are, how how well you've been going into lessons and doing the work. You got to walk with that spirit of fear of the Heavenly Father in you. And if you fear the Lord enough, then guess what? All other fear goes away. Okay? Nothing puts fear of carnal and material things in perspective than the fear of the Heavenly Father, man. Okay? Because ultimately you understand the Heavenly Father, he is the he's the creator of everything that everybody's afraid of, man. He created those things. Okay? So if we prioritize things right, we got nothing to fear, man, because we are his children, man. Okay? This is why the Lord gets so angry when you worship things, lesser things and creatures and beings and objects, because there's a creator that created all of that. Okay? And the Lord set up a hierarchy. He is the Most High, and his only begotten Son is set up as the ruler of the universe. Okay? The realm, the heavens and the earth, man. Okay? As the scriptures say in Hebrews 1 and 2, he says, all things are of me. I might be butchering it, okay? But he's the first spirit created, and all things are of Yahushua, man. Okay? That's the order. Okay? And Yahushua has order of the 12, okay? And the throne of David and all of these things, man. So you got to put things in perspective, man. Okay? A lot of these things that cause Jake to get bugged out, it ain't necessary. You ain't need to drink that much that night. Okay? You didn't need to take what the brother said that personally. These are little things that turn into leaven, and then over time, you end up tripping over it, man. Okay? And you trip over it at a time where you don't have enough spirit in you to get back up. Because see, all brothers, we go through things where your spirit is kind of down, a little bit, and it's not there, but the Lord can have you trip right at that moment when you just don't have enough spirit in you to get back up. You got to think about how the Heavenly Father, he's controlling this thing, man. Okay, that's why he likens us to clay, to a clay pot. Okay, and he's the potter. Okay, everything we do, our ways, the things we think about, it's all these are all goings that the Lord has set up. All right, and you have a limited autonomy. Okay, but you ultimately are not responsible for the things that you do, and this is why that fear of the Lord is so paramount. Okay, because guys are about to catch it, man. Okay, they're about to catch it. You see what the Lord is doing to people out here? I'm still, I don't want to say shook, but it still kind of messed you up. That video the elder sent of that dude in a car crash. He was just laying out there. He was just stiff, man. His neck was turned around, twisted back. Okay, he looking right at the camera, man, with his eyes open. Hey. And there's so many ways the Lord can get you, man. Okay, when you read Ecclesiastes 39, or Ecclesiasticus 39, or Sirach 39, the Lord got teeth of wild beasts. Okay, he's got fire, famine. Okay, hail from the heavens. Okay, all of these different things. Okay, the Lord can put you in a waking nightmare, man, like he did the Egyptians. Okay, so the Lord is greatly to be praised, and at the same time, he's most definitely greatly to be feared. Okay, because he's the Most High. He's the highest points of both sides. He's the highest points of good and evil. Okay, and you got to understand or remember what you're a part of. That you're serving this power, man. That you're not only his people, but he called you to do the work. And so that bears a certain weight and responsibility. Then your flesh is going to convince you to not do this, or don't worry about this and this and that. But you got to fight, man. This is a fight. Get your ass up. Okay? Swing, in the spirit. Okay? Don't just let Satan bully you into a corner. Get your flesh in order. Hit the gym. Put that bullshit processed food down. Okay, study, read, be around brothers, pray, fast. You got all the tools that you need. You have the examples of things that you need. Our forefathers were in much more dire situations than we are currently here today. Okay, so you really don't have an excuse not to put your best foot forward. I'm talking to myself as well. Okay, get your ass up and fight, because Satan is about to start claiming a lot of individuals, man. A A lot of men that are in the truth. Because the point that I wanted to allude to earlier, and I'll close it out. The point that I wanted to allude to earlier was that in the fourth quarter, that's when your enemy turns up the most. Okay, when can you expect the biggest, craziest plays if you watch football? Is when the other team is down and there's only 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes left on the clock. Okay, that's when you're gonna start seeing your opponent go the hardest. Okay, because they want to win. Again, this is a war. When you read Ephesians 6, and so do you have on the full body, the full armor of the Most High? Okay, that you can withstand the wiles of Satan. That's a sincere question, man. You need to ask yourself that every day, man. Okay, you can be in the faith and have faith in this and that, but there's going to be a distinct level of faith that you specifically are going to have to pass your hour of temptation, man. Okay, nobody else can save you. You're going to have enough faith to pass your test. Okay, and you're not given what that amount of faith is, man. A lot of you are going to find out you thought you were diligent, you thought you were doing this, and when you get tested, the chin that you need to have ain't gonna be there. You're not gonna sustain the knockout. You're not gonna be able to recover. Okay. And so, what should we do? Is, as the Apostle Peter said, give diligence, man, to make your calling and election sure. And those men that are doing that in sincerity, the Lord will defend us, man. You can have confidence in that. Okay. But He's not going to do it to men that are just aloof, that are going through the motions. You're not examining. There's no fear in you to want to examine yourself and making sure. Okay? Because you got to remind yourself the horror of the Most High and what He's getting ready to do to these people, and that there ain't going to be no in-between people when He comes. Okay? You either with the Most High or you're going to catch horrific judgment. Okay? We say these things all of the time, but the Lord has to show us and give us reminders like this guy from Baton Rouge. Okay? You can look up the story the Elder Manata Zakba did, GMS South Carolina 08. All right? The Lord is going to start claiming people, man. Okay? You know, and I pray the brothers, we had a beautiful time in Chicago this past weekend, and I pray those are good men, man. But at the same time, I don't know. Only the Most High. I don't know if I'm gonna make it. You know, I have confidence that I will, but I pray every one of those brothers are gonna make it, man, on those chariots, man. Okay, there's nothing better than the brotherhood, sincere men that understand where we are, what's going on. Okay. Anyway, you know, just be on guard and get ready to fight, man. The Day of Atonement's not far away. All right, take this serious. Okay? So I end it there. Lord willing, this is edifying. Call for Allah Yahweh, Ba'ashim Yahweh Shai. Ba'ashim Rachakudah Shalom. Kwam Yashara.